Okay, welcome. New class number 50 of Tanya. Trucking along, L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Nice, thank you.
Cool.
It's good stuff, thank you. Okay, so last class we learned that a person always has to step out of their comfort zone. To be an oived, to be actively serving. Not a tzaddik is his backup, so to speak. Eved, he did his time. The Beinani is the oived. Oived is someone he's working. What does that mean? He's constantly pushing himself. And we learned the example of, in olden days, they usually would learn to review something 100 times. So the students were accustomed to learning everything that many times. But who is a real servant? Someone who learned 101 times. What's the big deal? Just one more time. So we said because that one more time is more than you're accustomed to. Push yourself out of your habit. And we give the example of donkey drivers as well. So you can have a Beinani, a guy who doesn't do anything wrong. He does everything right, but he's not serving God because he's cruising. Right? He has his minyan, he has his Torah classes. He doesn't think anything bad, doesn't say anything bad, doesn't do anything bad, but he's not pushing himself. He's just, he's cruising, low rider. But now, here we go. Ready? Chapter 16. And this is the important principle regarding the divine service of the intermediate man. Who, and his main focus has to be limshel, to rule, v'lishloit, and to govern ala teva shel b'chol asmali. Your job is not to get caught up in your natural way of doing things. That's the hardest thing. We all have, Rabbi, this is the way I am, right? I like to eat, I like to sleep, whatever it is. This is the way I am. Torah comes and says that's not. Everyone says it is what it is. No, that's not. No. The Torah goes against that. You have to rule your nature. Hashem, through the light of the divine light, Hameir, that shines, illuminates, with your godly soul, because a godly soul is always ascending up, is always pushing, and we have to get in touch with our godly soul, and to rule the desires over the heart. Now, how do we do that? How do you do it? It's all a matter of keeping perspective of what's truly, truly important. When you put things in perspective and you weigh the greatness of God over potato chips, even though these are 50% less sodium, right? Right? Because when a person contemplates, thinks in his mind, God will say in the greatness of God, and what will come forth is, in his understanding, a knowledge and a fear of God. So you say you have a certain way you like to do things. Then it comes along and you think to yourself about the greatness of God. So if I came to you at night, you say, "Can I come over? I got to tell you something special." "Oh, Rabbi, I'm tired, man. This is something really special." "All right, fine. Listen, I found out there's a treasure, right, buried. I just can't shovel it myself. Can you help me?" All of a sudden, you wouldn't be tired anymore. What happened?
Got incentive, adrenaline.
I'm dealing with Mendy, right? To learn for his bar mitzvah. I don't know why I'm tired. Play video games. All of a sudden, he's in a good mood. Then he has energy, right? So it's all a question of perspective, incentive, right? So you say, "I don't want to go to shul. I want to sleep in." Or this is my schedule. I like to stick to my schedule. So how do you combat that? When we think about the greatness of Hashem, and then we have either a feeling of yearning to be closer to Him by doing the mitzvah, or a feeling of awe to stay away from doing avera, be a sur mirad rabbanon, to stay away from doing the bad, either biblical or rabbinical decrees. Even we'll call a minor rabbinical ordinance, The Avos Hashem believe by, and will contemplate, and this contemplation will stir a love of Hashem in his heart. B'chol yemini, in his right side. Because you remember we learned a while back. I don't remember which chapter it was. We said that the heart is mainly under the dominion of the animal soul, of the Yetzer Hara. But the divine soul does have a little bit. Because if the divine soul didn't have any foothold in the heart, then you would never be able to manufacture and feel a love of God. It would be love of chocolate cake all the time, and then it's almost like eating broccoli. It doesn't taste good, but
I like broccoli.
I'm kidding. There was someone said my wife sent me a clip once. It says, how do you lose weight? She said a woman has a salad and didn't look very colorful. It was a monocolored green. She takes like a big thing of chocolate and she puts the leaf in her mouth. like you want the chocolate, but you gotta eat the salad, right? So the godly soul has to have some kind of standing in the heart. Otherwise, you'd never be able to feel love of Hashem. It continues with a longing, and a desire, to cleave to God, become a mitzvah, the fulfillment of mitzvahs. So when you do a mitzvah, why are you doing it?
Feels good.
Because you want to have a relationship with Hashem. That's the feel good is the relationship, right? So that's coming from love. But Talmud Torah Kulam and learning Torah is the best thing you can do. Now, let's read the note in the bottom of 225 in the old print. I don't know where we are in the new print, but 231. The Alter already pointed out, the commandments cannot be fulfilled fully, that is, with the totality of one's being, unless it's performed it's motivated by the love of Hashem. And the fear of Hashem directs us to avoid transgressing. When one's observance is so motivated, his love and fear of Hashem permeate the performance of the commandments and enhance them with their power. Seemingly, however, this is true only of love and fear that are openly felt in one's heart. What if, and this is where we're going to start, very important, what if, despite your efforts, right, you're contemplating, you're thinking, you can't excite yourself to love and fear God, but you're doing everything. And you have these people that try to lose weight, right? They eat right, they exercise, but they can't lose weight. Some people, it's very, very, very hard. And they know they look at a cup of water and they gain 5 pounds, right? It's so the guy is doing everything he's supposed to, right? He's thinking and he's contemplating and about God's greatness and everything else. And so he understands that he should appreciate it. Intellectually understands that it's good, and intellectually he feels. Actually, those words are. He understands the feeling, but he doesn't actually feel it. So this is what's called. Alter Rebbe is going to introduce us to call something called tevuna. Tevuna means an understanding of an emotion. You don't actually feel it, but you understand it. Let's go. This is a new topic. Yesser al Kain, and even more.
Is this like understanding it, like you were talking about previously about rabbis taking off their clothes, putting on someone else's clothes? Is this something?
No, that's the story of the Rebbe Marash, who, in order to give the guy advice, he had to be standing in the guy's place, so to speak. So figuratively, you would take off his clothing, he would divest himself of the position of Rebbe.
Yeah, so he can get the viewpoint of the person.
Right.
He was a tzaddik and he lived a certain way, but he had to see it through the viewpoint of Ben.
Right, but there he was totally immersing himself in that person's experience, because the famous line from Pirkei Avot, don't judge a person until you reach his place. So who am I to give you advice? It's very easy to give advice, but he came to the Rebbe for honest life advice, so he had to get to that person's level. Here we're talking about something else. Here we're talking about the guy's trying to feel love and fear of God. He's thinking, but he's not feeling it. He doesn't get that. He doesn't have that appreciation. He doesn't have that appreciation. So over here he has the appreciation, but he's not feeling, emotionally excited. So he says, "V'yeser arkein tzarich liyeda klal gadol b'avodas habeinu." And another thing a Beinoni has to know, because you have to realize, remember what that tzaddik, what the Alter Rebbe said in chapter, 13, 14, I think it was 14, that the Beinoni, the intermediate man, it most likely will never be rid of the evil inclination. He's perfect in action, thought, and speech, but for the entirety of his life, he's always going to be battling the evil inclination. Now, battling the evil inclination doesn't only mean that the evil inclination will find expression in doing something bad. The evil inclination also stands as an obstacle. You're trying to get excited about Judaism. The evil inclination says, relax, come on, man, chill. You pray, don't want to pray, but stop being crazy. You're going to be like one of those fanatical guys. That's not you. That's also the evil inclination, right? So he's saying it's possible the Beinani over here, shagam im ein yad sichla v'ruach b'nosei maseges l'hoid avas Hashem v'kaltzli. But even if one's intellect and understanding are incapable of producing a revealed love of Hashem in his heart, that means he should have a burning desire. I mean, think about it. To be on a level where you're just infatuated in love with God, I mean, it's a high level. So you can learn and know it's so important, but do you actually feel it? So it says, by to feel in his heart a passion and longing to be close to God. Instead, what does he have? He has a love that's hidden in his mind and in recesses of his heart. By the way, note 3 is important, because Alter Rebbe mentioned previously there's something called manufactured love and something called inherent love. Or there's a sibling love and a spousal love. And sibling love is inherent. Spousal love is manufactured. Before you met your spouse, you didn't love them. You know who they are. But it's manufactured. Sibling is automatic.
Sometimes before and after. No, just kidding.
A spouse. So with God and with God and the Jewish people, you have this inherent love. That's it's called the hidden love many times, because that's based in every single Jew. Every Jew loves God. You may not know it, but every Jew loves God. By the way, and every Jew loves the land of Israel too, by the way. A Jew can't be indifferent to the land of Israel. It's impossible. You could be protesting for, you could be protesting against, but even the protesting against is a sign of their love for the Jewish people. Because if you really didn't care, then why would you go outside? It's because you had that connection. It's impossible for a Jew to be indifferent to God. It's impossible. Either you're for or for you against, but you have an opinion.
And now, in the case of love for Israel, right? For me, it was because I grew up that way. Like in my grandmother's house, there was the picture of Moshe Dayan. So we always had that connection, and we always have to go back. So is that learned if you're not, a Sabra, or if you're born in the U.S. or? So
we're saying it could be it's hidden. You're not conscious of it, but it's there. So the Rebbe's Chassidus teaches that when you go and you approach a Jew, let's talk about Torah and mitzvahs, because Israel is a little bit of step after, so to speak. Okay, even though really it's connected. Jew, Israel, and Torah are all, you can't separate the three. They're all connected. So the best thing is the Jew and Israel doing the Torah. The completion of the Torah and the Jew can only be in the land of Israel. Israel is incomplete without the Jew. The Jew is incomplete without Israel and Torah. It's all Bermuda Triangle of right. But if you go to the Chassidus teaches, when you approach a Jew and he's not observant or whatever it is, and he's saying, okay, this guy, so now I have to teach him something new. But according to the Tanya, that's not what we're talking about. That's not true. We're trying to reveal what's already there. Could be he doesn't know. Okay, so we're going to work. It's a lot easier to reveal something that's already there than to try to introduce something to a person, especially as he gets older. So it's not like a vacuum salesman. You know what that is?
Of course.
I don't know.
Kirby, no?
What?
Is it the Kirby's that they used to sell?
Yes. Hoover.
Hoover, right?
Hoover.
The guys would show up. I
was selling hair straighteners at the mall. I know, it's the same.
No, but I'm talking about they'd come to your house.
Yeah.
I remember there was older guy, would walk around the neighborhood in his wagon. He'd come to every house and he'd try to convince you to buy something. I don't know if you need it, but he tried to convince you that you need it, right? So it's a challenge, right? Because the person came to the mall and they think they look good. I said, no, what you need is this cream. Right? You need this cream. Because really, I mean, all advertising is you need this. If you don't have this TV, you call yourself a fan. You think you're watching the game, but nah, you're not watching. You gotta get close to the game. You gotta get in the game, right? You call it, right? So it's a challenge, but that's what marketing is. Jewish marketing is very different. Jewish marketing is, you're already Jewish. All you gotta do is reveal it. You don't have to do anything different. You already are. So that's hidden love. What the Alter Rebbe is referring to over here in chapter 16 is not the hidden love. What he's saying over here, it's the love is hidden in his mind, the recesses of his heart. Let's look at note 3 now. The love mentioned there in chapter 15 is inherent. It cannot constitute avoid the divine service, while it's latent. The love spoken of here is of man's making and does indeed constitute avoid the service. It is hidden only in the sense that it is marked by reserved characteristic of intellect, and thus lacks the intensity and expression of emotionally charged love. That's what's happening. So the guy learns and he understands he should feel that way, but he doesn't actually feel it. So it's called hidden because he's not actually feeling it. I've always wondered when I'm learning this, I don't know if it's a good example or not. Like you have people that are psychopaths. Now many people think that psychopath means automatically you're a serial killer. It's not true. Psychopath is he doesn't feel the emotion that normal people feel, but he understands that it's bad. He just doesn't feel that it's bad. So I wonder. It could be it's a bad example. Maybe one guy's going to read this and say this rabbi's an idiot. But I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. But here the guy's learning, and he's trying to manufacture a feeling, and it should. 1 + 1 should equal 2. It should result in a love of God, but it doesn't. But he understands that's the right feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In my mind, it makes sense. I don't know if it's true or makes sense to you guys.
Yeah.
But
But this is where we also come back to habit. You keep doing it. You keep doing it. You keep doing it. And eventually
right.
you grow into it. Or
Right,
it
so-
grows into you, one or the other.
Right, so let's learn over here. So he says over here, the Alter Rebbe points out in a note. So the reason, so now why is it if you're learning and contemplating, so how come you're not getting that love? Because you remember we spoke about in chapter 2, going back to chapter 2, the soul is very, very powerful. But the soul could be so covered over in klipa that it doesn't. Klipa is a husk, a shell. It doesn't.
Good job.
It's much harder. It's much harder to bring it to
I
the.
opened my map this time.
It's much harder to bring it to the surface. So let's use it for example. Water. Where is water present? Everywhere. Water is present everywhere in the world. Now, in Florida, you dig 2 feet, you get water. You go to New York,
You might have to go lower.
Buenos Aires, they were telling me how far they got to dig to get water. Because when they build a mikveh,
Lime.
no.
Limestone.
So in Florida, our buildings aren't that high, right? So God willing, we're going to build a mikveh there. So the plan has something to channel the rainwater. But in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, everything's massive buildings. Where you're going to get the rain up there, and also when it's going to rain, you're going to channel 20 floors down or 10 floors down. It's a whole. They dig down. My father-in-law was telling me, like,
It's here. It's like 4 to 6
water
feet under
table,
the surface level. You dig 4 feet and you have water. Go to the beach and dig down
Right.
enough, and the hole fills with water.
Right, I'm saying, but in
Argentina is probably like 30 feet. You got
more.
Depends.
So yeah, my father-in-law said a crazy number. So the point is, everywhere is water. So you might say, hey, it's not fair. In Florida, they get water. Me, I got to dig 150 feet. Okay, the water is there. The question is, how much you're digging. So let's look at the note. The reason is it could be that his soul levels, we learned back in chapter 2 and 3, that the different levels of nefesh and ruach and neshama, they're in a state of ibur. Ibur means ibur literally means pregnant or concealment. When the baby is in utero, it's concealed. You can't see it.
You pregnant?
Huh?
Pregnant?
Yeah, but it means, but about here it means conception. It's hidden. So
Yeah.
it could be a person's soul is in a very hidden state.
It's the verb of getting pregnant. basically.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, but what it means over here is that this person's soul is in a hidden state. V'loi b'chinas leidus, leida. When a child is born, it's a revelation. What is it, right? It's a state of revelation. So it could be that a person can contemplate, like I say in Yiddish, Hein bis morgen. You know what that was saying means? Hein bis morgen means today until tomorrow. But because his soul is hidden, so then the effect is everything is the feeling of love of God is going to be hidden. But so what happens? So look at the note, and then end of the note. So you have two scenarios. Either number one, the guy contemplates and the feeling of love is revealed, or an earlier stage where the emotion is still part of the intellect. In this latter state, the emotion consists merely of an intellectual inclination towards the object of one's understanding. Let's say, for example, think about ice cream. What? No, don't talk about ice cream. All right. So you think to yourself, yeah, ice cream's good. I can use an ice cream now. Now in your mind, you're thinking ice cream's good. You appreciate the ice cream. You're not getting all emotional. I need to have the ice cream. Oh, if I would have ice cream right now, In your mind, it's right. You appreciate the goodness of it. So it could be a person. This is number two. It says a person either can feel the love of God. Oh, I need the ice cream. Right. I need the godliness. Or he can say godliness is good. I understand it. He's not feeling it emotionally. So this is what can happen. So the divine attributes are either chesed. Chesed means outgoing. Right? I want it. The desire to connect. That's chesed. Gevurah means you pull back. It is prior to their existence in the revealed state are concealed within and encompassed by intellect within their soul. The soul in turn stems from divine attributes and hence reflects the characteristics. Thus, these souls which derive from the attributes as a revealed state possess the quality as is. Okay, let's continue. So now let's talk about when the love of God is in one's intellect. The heart comprehends with the spirit of wisdom and understanding. The greatness of God and everything before God is not. Asher al Kain 228 in old print. Asher al Kain Yosalei. And this reason it's fitting. And every living soul should pine for absorbed light. So you appreciate it, right? This is good. This is not good. You understand it, and therefore, because you understand it's good. Therefore, you gravitate towards that behavior. But also his own soul, nefesh and ruach, kach yosalen also is gravitating. It wants to go and to not to be held back by its cover, the sheath, that we call it the sheath, the body ladafka. Rak, and the only reason why it's not. Why doesn't the soul leave? Because God is forcing you to be alive. A person understands, if you stop and think, right, how do I be more godly? By being less in the body. Right?
Tzimtzum.
No, I'm a tongue. How do I become more godly?
Less body.
Less body, more soul.
Less here.
Right, so the
More-
soul.
Yeah, tzimtzum aguf. Tzimtzum aguf.
Right, yeah, Jimmy, okay, right.
Towards the nefesh.
Right, so he's saying if the soul gets rid of the body, soul leaves the body, great. But it doesn't work that way. God says no, you have to be here. It's boy kalmonis chayis, and the soul is bound in there like a living widow. You know what a living widow is? Not a widow who's alive. That's not obviously. A living widow is also in Hebrew called an aguna. You know what an aguna is?
Aguna.
Aguna is, so according to Jewish law, a woman is only allowed to be married to one man. Okay, I say according to biblical law, I should say. According to biblical law, a woman is only allowed to be married to one man, as opposed to a man is allowed to be married to two wives. Now, why you want that? I don't know, but if you're into self mutilation, self punishment, if you're a sadist, then you marry two wives. But
That's
these
a biblical law.
what
Jewish men can marry two women.
could
Could.
just because you could doesn't mean it's a smart thing to do.
Sure.
Does that have anything to do with so the offspring don't fight with each other? Is that
What?
What's the reasoning
That
behind?
you could?
Yeah. No.
The Torah doesn't give you what reason why you could, why you're allowed to. The Torah does because in the Torah way it lays out different topics, you could learn one from the other. So the Torah puts the idea that you can marry a second wife, and then it talks about having problems with inheritance, having problems with the kids, and basically the rabbis say you could, but you're walking yourself into a bad situation. Yes. So like one comedian once said, so just because you could go skydiving, doesn't mean it's a smart thing to do, right? By the way, I want to go skydiving.
It's fun, I bet.
Yeah. But a woman is not allowed to be married to two husbands. She has to, if her husband dies, she has to have proof of death, or she has to have a divorce, right? That's how she's released. So what happens if her husband disappears?
Without
War.
giving the get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
That's so sad.
no. So disappears meaning
Oh.
without a get, or it goes to war, doesn't come back, or goes to. Let's give a modern day example. Let's say a person's husband was kidnapped by Hamas October 7th. You have no idea if the guy's alive or dead. She can't remarry. She has no idea.
She can.
She cannot. I'm not talking about she wants to not, but right.
No, she can.
But saying about this modern day, we don't have this issue as much. But in the olden days, people would travel and just
Who knows?
the ship went down.
No.
He was attacked by.
Yeah.
I mean, people were
Could
killed.
be years.
I mean, people, and especially Jews, were killed. You never knew. So this idea of it's called a aguna, or it's called a living widow. The woman's alive but can't do anything. What we have these days is if a man doesn't want to, according to the Torah, the way the divorce states it explicitly, the man has to issue the writ of divorce. So if a man does not want to issue the writ of divorce, she's stuck.
Allah says that he does want.
No, halacha says.
He
Wait,
does
wait,
want,
halacha
and
says.
if he doesn't agree to it, he's not in a good state of mind, and it's allowed to hate him.
Yeah, the halacha says, the Maimonides says, if a guy is obnoxious and doesn't want to give the divorce, we pull him into an alley
Yeah.
and we beat him.
It's allowed.
Yeah.
Brooklyn style.
Yeah. No, we beat him
It's
until
allowed to beat him.
he says, "I'll give the divorce," and then the Maimonides says, "But that's not willing." So the Maimonides says that really he wants to. A Jew wants to do what Hashem wants, but his Yetzer Hara we got to beat his Yetzer Hara out of him. Yeah, it's the only time Maimonides says something like that.
beautiful.
Gives a reason. Yeah, we beat him. By the way,
It's beautiful.
there was a case in Israel.
It's really beautiful.
There was a case in Israel 15, 20 years ago. Seriously.
Not for violence.
Yeah. There's a case in Israel 15, 20 years ago. The guy didn't want to give a divorce, so these couple guys got together and they beat this guy,
They convinced him.
but then he pressed charges. He pressed charges and the guys went to jail, so they had to stop because, it was in Israel. But yeah, but there's a whole thing of you can't. But now these days they excommunicate him. You can't put him in. You can't include him in the minyan and everything else. But really, there's nothing a woman could do. But by the way, 1,000 years ago they passed a rule that a woman has to accept a divorce also. A man can't just divorce his wife. So now you have a woman also on the other side. A man wants to divorce, and she doesn't accept it. Now he's stuck also, because men are not allowed to marry two wives anymore. But that's rabbinical. Although in the Sephardic community, they didn't adopt this as an absolute ban. Now, more yet. It was an Ashkenazic thing, but there was a in the 50s, after the state of Israel was established, and our Arab cousins exiled, expelled all the Jews living in their lands. For the chutzpah, the Jews came back to their homeland, right? So the Jews were living in Iraq and Syria and all these countries for literally thousands of years. Jews were living in those countries longer than they were living in Israel. You know there was a community in Iraq for 2,500 years. Do you know
My
that?
family's from there.
Iraq.
Yeah. From Basra.
So but from the middle of the first temple times, there's a community in Iraq
Wow.
till 1953. Do you understand that?
That's why we celebrate Pesach for 2 days, no?
Yeah, but you're right, but that's a communication issue. But anyway, so there were some Sephardim who came from Syria, Iraq, I don't know exactly, Yemen, and they had 2 wives. And in the early days, Israel was run all by Ashkenazim. And there was no concept of already for 1,000 years of these 2 wives business. So they didn't know what to do. So how do we deal with this issue?
Go back to the old ways.
So they decided was leave these guys alone, and then it'll just
Disappear.
it'll disappear on its own.
The culture will change.
Yeah, and that's exactly what. So these guys that had 2 wives, let
So
it
that
go.
was like 150, 200 years ago?
What?
No.
This.
No, this is in the 50s.
In the 50s?
The what? No, when the Jews came from Yemen, when they came from Yemen and they came from Iraq,
So like now.
some of them came.
75, 76 years ago?
Yeah, some of them came with 2 wives. So they said, listen, we're not going to let the kids marry 2 wives, but the guys will let it go.
We'll take it.
I mean, it wasn't.
A lot of them came from small communities that married like their first cousins and stuff too.
Yeah, but that happened in Ashkenazi communities also, because Ashkenazi Jews lived in these tiny towns.
Yeah.
You know, the Ashkenazi Jews either weren't allowed or didn't want to live in the big cities. That's where all that anti-Semitism was. It's like Chabad. It's called Chabad Lubavitch. You know what Lubavitch is? Lubavitch is a tiny town. Tiny town. Even now it's a tiny town. You have to zoom in, Google, zoom in, and then you see it. It's literally 5 square blocks. It's nothing, and it's now. Why? Because they wanted to run away from persecution. So you were in the town. I mean, who are you marrying? Town here, town there, town there. I mean, right?
Did you
Yeah,
not have,
that's what tastes better. All the Ashkenazic, all the Ashkenazic born genetic diseases.
That's what I was about to ask about.
It's all because of that.
Genetic diseases for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's because of that. In fact, by the way, they've done DNA testing. They say that all Ashkenazi Jews come from 4 women.
Wow.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot of inbreeding.
Not perfect, but first cousins, second cousins, yeah. In fact, they said there's one family from Padua, northern Italy. There's the father, Katzenollenbogen's name. He's the father of 90%. I mean, obviously, we're going back hundreds and hundreds of years of Ashkenazi Jews. Yeah, it's crazy.
We got a lot.
Padova.
What?
Padova.
Yeah. Anyway,
I heard from a rabbi the other day that you can, with the DNA testing, you can even find that you might be a descendant of Aaron. All the way to that.
no, that's because the Kohanim, they carry a certain gene. Yeah, and only the Kohen males carry the gene. Now, about last week we spoke about the Ethiopians.
Uh-huh.
So we're through things for some of the Ethiopians had this gene.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. You know, now, by the way, there's a whole thing. I know. Last week we got off subject, and we're getting off subject again. But you know, mitochondrial DNA is. Mitochondrial DNA is a DNA only through the mother, right? And the way to prove Judaism is only through your mother. That the mother has to be Jewish. So people come and say they did a 23andMe test, and they have Ashkenazic or whatever Sephardic. That doesn't help us. It doesn't prove Judaism. But if someone does a mitochondrial DNA, and they find Jewish, there are some rabbis who are willing to accept that as proof of Judaism, because it's the only
they
way.
do that only in Israel?
No.
Everywhere?
Yeah. It's very, very interesting. Now with genetics, it's very, very interesting. But anyway, I don't know. And we got the living widows. Anyway, so the soul is like a living widow. Why? Because just like the living widow is bound to her fate, can't escape, nothing she can do. So too the soul is bound to its fate. God forced it into a body, and stuck here. So, there you go. It's still recording?
Appears to be.
All right. So I'm gonna just pick it up so the microphone is. Let's see. And there's a button on the side. I just don't want to touch it. All right. So I need to get bigger ears. in a few years, right? So so a person is thinking to himself, right?
Isn't it connected to how you were in your previous
I don't know,
previous round?
genetically,
little bit.
your ears are cartilage. It doesn't stop growing, and yeah, everything else shrinks.
But they may say that people that have like substantially big ears,
Yeah.
they could have been like ones that like to hear gossip.
I
or
don't know.
things
Maybe,
like that
maybe.
in the past.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So a person thinks like, here's my soul, and it's stuck in this situation, and I want to get out of the situation, right? Maybe you don't feel the emotions like watching those commercials for 39 cents a day. Won't you help this?
Yeah.
Right. So you think about it, like I don't really know what's going on over there. I don't really feel emotion, but I feel bad for 39 cents a day. I'll give some. So maybe you don't feel that love, burning desire to be close to God, but you understand that your soul is in this bad state, and I want to try to alleviate the situation a little bit. The less machshava to live tefisa beklal. In the present state, no thought can grasp God at all. Kim kasher tefisa, b'slavesh b'torah mitzvahs. The only way of doing it is my soul is stuck in this situation. Once I get out of the situation, the only way I can do it is through Torah mitzvahs. That's it. So your soul is stuck. And they say, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help you? So to help me, feed me Torah mitzvahs. Kemashal hamachabek samelech niskalo. Just like, for example, we gave the example. If someone gets a hug from a dignitary or a king, right? And he came back and said, shook my hand, or who gave me a hug, right? You see the football players. Sometimes they dive into the stands and I got to hug Tom Brady. Imagine someone, you didn't get to hug Tom Brady. He had his jersey on and he had his pads on. What are you, an idiot? Still Tom Brady, right? Same thing is when you do a mitzvah, you say that's not God, that's tefillin. Yeah, but that's the equivalent of hugging God. So although the king's dressed in his robes, it's the same thing. All the above passes through your heart and mind, leads to resolve that it's fitting to do this mitzvah. Right? You're here, you're stuck with the soul, and you want to make the souls better. So what are you going to do to make the soul situation better? I'm going to do a mitzvah. I'm going to learn some Torah. Hainu, that means kiyum Torah. Hatayah mitzvah b'ma'aseh dibim machshava. That means to do the mitzvah in action, speech, or thought. She'asagas v'yidiyas hatekniskala, which is understanding of Torah. So maybe you don't feel that burning desire to, we all want employees to come in and say, "Yeah, baby, let's work." Yeah, but not all employees are like that, right? How about an employee that understands that he needs to work and he needs to do a good job? And maybe he doesn't feel the burning, desire to be there, but he understands what he's got to be. Like Eric. Eric's that person, perfect employee. Eric loves going to work.
Eric is a big boss.
And HR's worse than nightmare. Put me in front of a machine.
Now, thus we see that when it motivates a person, the actual observance of the mitzvahs is the meditation on God's greatness. This brings about the realization that a person should strive to bind himself to God. So would it be great that you felt this, he gave you, it was Mother's Day, he gave your wife or your mother something, a present, and he said, "Here, honey," says, "Here, happy Mother's Day." No. I want you to come in and I want you to mean it. Emotion, hey lady, I just got you a necklace, all right? Be quiet, right? So would it be great if you did it with all emotion? You felt it, yeah, but sometimes you're not feeling it. Imagine you told your wife, I was gonna buy you a present, but I wasn't in the mood, so I didn't buy you a present.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes you're not gonna be in the mood. Sometimes you're not gonna feel it, but you understand that this is the right thing to do. This is what you got to do. And that's what's motivating you to do the mitzvah. So consequently, when a Beinoni ponders this subject in his heart and mind, or people believe shav in his mouth and heart are in accord. I mean, he's in sync. Shemekayim came before they should do it. He should fulfill whatever it is he has to do in his mouth. To resolve, he should do what he resolved to do, because many times in your heart you know what the right thing to do is, you know what the right thing to say, but what comes out is something else. But here They're in sync. The Hainu, that means Leah's Pateris Hashem Echafse. The many times we know we should get up and do exercise. Do you actually do it? Right? You know you shouldn't say Lashon Hara. But, right? We know. We know we should. You understand you should.
Unless it's a really good story.
Yeah, then it's okay, right? If it's really juicy, then yeah, right? So we're talking about and you do it. The Hainu Lias B'Toyes Hashem B'Chesed, it means to direct your desire towards Hashem's Torah, V'yega B'Yem of Leila, V'Befiv, and to meditate and to learn it in all free time, day and night. And that's not only learning, doing with your mouth, also your hands and all the other limbs, according to what you understand, you intellectually understand, this is what you got to do. This is what you do. Now, again, reiterating, it's best if you're emotionally involved. But just because a person isn't emotionally involved doesn't mean, well, I didn't feel like it, so I didn't come to shul. I didn't put on film today. Why? I didn't feel like it. But if you know you got to do it, then right? Kid wakes you up.
Doing Hariv after you fall asleep on the couch.
It's the worst. Let me tell you something. I told my wife once. There's no better feeling in the world. You lay down in bed. And you jump up. Have damar. I already davened. I'm telling you that's what heaven is.
To me, it's actually you fall asleep on the couch and you're about to put yourself to bed, but you didn't pray. But actually, the praying that actually gets you to be.
And try forgetting to do the Kiddush Levana and gotta go outside. So the point is that sometimes we feel if I don't do it perfectly, not only the observance but emotionally involved, then it's not worth anything. That's not true. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. If you understand that this is what you got to do, then you do it. Maybe next time it'll be better. Let's see. Let's try to finish the next page. Harei tvuna zu. This understanding, this tvuna mislabesh b'maisa dibur machshava is what's motivating your action, speech, and thought. Hater mitzvahs the Torah and its mitzvahs liyash lehem bechinas moichim v'chayes v'gadvan perchalela, and gives it wings and vitality to soar up on high. That means when the Eibusha sees you, that you're doing it. Why? Because you understand this is what you got to do. It's as if you did it with the invested practice of real fear and real love. In the revealed part of his heart. So again, you got to be honest with yourself, right? To be a faker, that's not good. Because that means if you think you should be something that you're not. Be honest with yourself. If you're not feeling it, okay. It's okay. Do it anyway. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. Imagine you call in your boss. I didn't come to work. Why? Yeah. I didn't feel like it.
What's it feeling?
Not motivated.
What do they call it? Emotional day?
Yeah,
What do
emotional.
the kids call it these days?
Emotional
Health
There
day.
you go.
Emotional
Mental health
wellness.
day. Yeah, mental health day.
Mental
Taking a
health
day
day.
off, go to the beach, gonna recharge.
They have that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember my mother in her office. She worked for the Jewish press. She had a comic strip and hanging in the office there. So there was a guy comes to a door in a suit, and the guy answering the door is in fishing gear. And he says to the guy in the fishing gear, "I know you're sick with the flu, but we need the key to the filing cabinet, right?" So meaning we, like Pirkei Avot says, we are workers, meaning everyone's time is measured and everyone's time is precious. And your job is to produce.
Chassid oseh.
Huh?
Chassid oseh.
Yeah, every person got to produce. Now, sometimes you're going to feel great doing it, and sometimes not. But if you go about and you do it because you understand this is the right thing to do, then Eibishter, it says in Gemara, Hashem binds your intended motivation, what you want to do, but to the action. Hashem makes it as if you had a burning desire. Just like as if you would have had the desire, fervor, and passion in his heart. Now, why? How does this work? So why does Hashem invest it as if you had the emotion? It says Hayels 231. Since this is right before the 26th of Tevis. I don't know where we are in the new print. Well, you're the only one who has the new print, huh?
237.
Oh, so he says, Hoyel, since who tvuna zish v'mechad to lumas liba, this tvuna, this understanding in his mind and recesses of his heart, he may via lasek behem, is what's driving you to do the mitzvah. Why are you doing the mitzvah? Let me ask you a question. What's better? A croissant with butter or putting on tefillin? Croissant with butter, right?
Croissant has butter.
Saying, right? You sit there to warm it up. That's good, right? Tefillin, you can chew on it, and you don't get full from tefillin. Why are you waiting? Why are you waiting for the croissant?
But isn't one food for your animal soul and one is food for your godly soul?
Yeah. So, but why? But why aren't you going straight to the bakery? Why are you going to shul before the bakery? Let's say, or skipping the bakery, or why are you skipping the bakery?
Our heart is leading, not our mind.
See why? Because you understand. Why aren't you buying that croissant? Doesn't have a hechsher. Why? Because in your mind you understand that this is I got to do it. This I shouldn't do. That's what's motivating you, right? Like the famous line where it says we learned in last week's parsha. Last week's parsha told us all about the things you could do, you shouldn't do, right? And the Rashi says, quotes the Gemara. Rabbi Elazar said a person should never say, "Oh, I can never eat that. Oh, I can never eat shellfish, or I can never eat that. It's disgusting." No, that's not true. Millions of people eat it. Rather, the attitude is, I could, but God said no, so I don't. So when a person is doing what he's got to do because he understands this is what Hashem wants him to do, and he wants a relationship. If I want a relationship with you, I'm going to do what interests you, and I'm going to refrain from doing things that you find detestable. So maybe I don't understand why you like this. I'm sure all you guys have watched a movie with somebody you fell in. Maybe you went with your kids to a movie. You thought you wasted time, cartoon, Little Mermaid, or whatever it was, and thinking it's a waste of time. But you want to spend time with your kid, right? Or you watch as a romantic comedy with your wife, and like, this is so stupid.
I love those.
Right? Or like, right? Says I joke with my wife. My wife was well, I told my wife once, I want to watch a movie with you. Make sure it has a lot of guns and shooting.
I'm the opposite.
I'm kidding around.
Maybe the rom-com.
I was kidding around, right? But the point is that this understanding of it's driving you to do the mitzvah. So that's why. So v'lulei Hashem is b'nei t'vuna zui, and if it wasn't for your intention to want to have a relationship with God, lo yiseh b'hem klal, you wouldn't do the mitzvah. No human being wakes up and says, "Let me put on tefillin." It's not natural, right? No human being says, I could buy the meat in Walmart for $2.99 a pound, but instead I'll go to Roma and spend $11.99 a pound. Right? That doesn't,
Aroma every day.
whatever.
I'm kidding.
But meaning, why are you doing all these crazy things? Why are you doing these things that compromise your money or your time, whatever it is? It's because you're thinking, I want to have a relationship with Hashem. If you wouldn't think about the relationship with God, you'd only be occupied with the needs of your body, which unfortunately people do. They spend their entire day, their entire life thinking, getting a better car, a better house, a better suit, nicer shoes, bigger TV, and then what? And then what?
And the TV, a new one comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Put in the car, a new
1080, 4K, OLED, whatever it is, right? So the gam imu masmim in the muda betiva, and let's finish out this last part. And even if he's a studious by nature, after BK, even if you say, okay, maybe, a guy who's an excitable guy would go race cars, but this guy likes learning. But so what? But even if you're a studious person by nature, you still love yourself more than you love God. But naturally, that's just the way it is. So the fact you have to give yourself credit every single time you choose a mitzvah or you defer from an aver. You got to give yourself credit. You may say, "Oh, but I feel like I want the hamburger, right?" Or I don't feel like putting on tefillin. My mitzvah is valueless. That's not true. You could have been doing a million other things. The Rebbe spoke about once about the guys who come to shul on Shabbos, and these guys aren't observant, and who knows what they did before they come to shul? Who knows what they're doing after they come to shul? So why do we even bother having them in shul? The Rebbe said because for those 3 hours. They could be doing anything else. And Saturday morning, they can get up and go somewhere else. But they made the conscious decision that, no, we're going to come to shul. That's worth something. Those 3 hours that they're suffering through the rabbi's speech and all this kvetching by the podium and everything else, and until they get to the trouble. They could be doing something else. The fact that they're choosing this, that's now obviously again. Should we try to feel love and excitement for Judaism and learning Torah? Yes, but it's a process, and sometimes the process doesn't even work. So give yourself some slack, and like Nike says, just do it, because every mitzvah you do brings you closer, and refrain, because every God forbid causes friction, a strain on the relationship. Any questions, comments? Good. Everyone have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank you.